Hey, welcome to that Kilted Guy DIY home improvement, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I fixed about a dozen different areas on my neighbor's home, and I did all these repairs in about 3 hours, including the one you're seeing here, the big one, and I had to patch in this round box hole that they'd removed the box out of, and there's one over by the swamp cooler. There's a couple to the left of a door you can't see, and there's several down low that I didn't get video of where the corner bead had cracked and popped loose. There was about 6 of those, and I did all this, including the texture, in about 3 hours. And I'll show you some of that right after this. Okay, in today's video, I'm going to just kind of give you a walkthrough of how I did these multiple repairs. So, first of all, in this big rectangular one, that's where they'd removed a wall at the end of their bar area, their island. And you can see there was already some built-in backing in here, so really didn't need to do much except to mark where to attach the screws to for this piece. So after I got it cut, I basically test fit it. Sometimes on these kind of repairs, even though the sheetrock is 1/2 inch, the 1/2 inch sheetrock will go in too deep, and that's partly because there's often a little extra thickness of mud around the edges where the inside angles were taped and such. So I ended up putting a shim in, as you can see, and sometimes what you want to do is just kind of keep playing with 1 shim, 2 shim, etc. until you get the new piece to ride just barely below the old piece. You don't want it to ride above it all, so it's better to be a 30-second below or something. So then I'll just attach it with some drywall screws, and here I'm using my drywall cordless screw gun. It's not a cordless drill, so basically this one doesn't turn until you push on it. Now you can get by just fine with a cordless drill, impact, whatever you got. It's best if you can put a bit tip, sinking tip on it. I'll show you a picture of that here. But here in this case, I just put in 4 screws as it's really solid. So now we're ready to go ahead and apply the mesh tape. Now I'm going to move over to this spot here, which is basically just where some water came through the drywall, but it didn't damage it enough to need to be cut out. Now I often test that beforehand by poking it. If it crumbles, it breaks easily. If it feels spongy, too soft, or if it's sagging or bowing or really delaminating, then you might have to cut it out. But in this case, you can see I can just scrape off the loose stuff, because basically all it did here was to loosen up the drywall mud and some of the joint tape. So we're just going to clean up anything that's loose and get it good and clean, and then we're going to remove some of this joint tape right here, because I could see it wasn't really quite stuck well. So, and besides that, if you get this far and you can take off some of the joint tape, it's better, but I wouldn't go to a lot of work if it feels stuck really well. Just leave it. We can tape over it, float it out if you're good enough. Now if you're really struggling with this, if you're a novice, it's probably better if you can remove all that joint tape, and that way you can put the new joint tape right in the same spot. You don't have as much to float out. It's much easier. Okay, now I'm ready to put mesh tape on this big one here. So what I'm going to do is use some extra wide mesh tape. This is 6 inches wide. That way I don't have to put a couple different pieces. Now I'm using my level 5 8-inch skim coating blade, which is basically a taping knife in a skim coating form. I'm trying that out this time. It's brand new to me, just kind of a cool concept, feels pretty good, so we're going to try it out. So I'm using a fast setting joint compound here, because if you use mesh tape you have to use fast setting mud if you don't want to risk cracking, and that's per the manufacturer. So now that I got it pre-filled, I forced it in through the cracks and that, a good layer on it. We're going to take this 6-inch wide stuff and put a solid piece across here, and it just basically allows you to have fewer seams, a little bit stronger, and it's just handy for patchwork like this. So now that we have that mesh tape embedded, I decided to go ahead and extend it out a little bit wider. Go ahead and basically get a solid first coat on it, and what that'll do is reduce the number of coats I got to put on it, because you can basically tape it and coat it with mesh tape, which is one of the advantages. Now I've probably put on 500 rolls of mesh tape and I've only had one crack on me, and that could have been just due to movement. So to answer the question, no, mesh tape isn't weaker. It doesn't crack more if you do it right. And then for this circular one, I decided it was a little bit weak. The backing I put in it, it crumbled slightly. So I'm just going to fill it full of hot mud and basically glue it in. It's a small piece. This works well. It's kind of like doing a California patch when you're done, because we're going to go ahead and lay the mesh tape over it and coat it just like on the other one. And then of course I've got to tape the other joint right there, so we just put a little mud on it, slap some tape on that, and do the same thing here. So now we're ready to move on to the next coat, which I'm going to use hot mud again because I'm going to need to put one more coat on after this. So each time you do this, you go wider and wider. So I went with a 12-inch knife and I extended out a little wider than that. So it's probably going to be around 18 inches or so, 18 to 20 inches by the time I get this laid on here. Then I feathered the edges. Then I like to grab this 24-inch skim coating blade, because look how pretty that lays it down. It makes it nice and flat. You get the right contour. These things just work great. So you can see after I'm done here, it's in really good shape. So then I went to lunch. I went to the restaurant next door. Well, my house. I'm only one house down. And now I let it dry for about an hour and a half while I was over there. And I'm sanding the edges with a sanding sponge. All you're trying to do here is to feather these edges, because I left the middle pretty smooth. We can fix the middle, the lap mark. We can fix that in other ways. So we're just sanding these edges, feathering them out, because if you don't do this step, it's going to show when you spray the texture. You have to feather these edges, and I found that dry sanding just works so much better. And you can see in here all the cabinets are gone. The house is pretty much tore up, so they weren't worried about a little bit of dust anyway, and there's really not much that comes from this anyway. So go around and sand all the way around all of the edges, and then we're ready for the next step. So you can see me over here masking off. I did the repairs over here. I did the ones by the door. I did all the lower stuff. I just didn't show it on video this time. So that's the next step. Get everything masked off, and then we're ready to spray some texture. Well, after a little minor touch up just in the middle, you can see that lap mark there. I just scraped that off. You don't have to sand it off. And then I saw some bubbles in here at the last minute, so that's all you see me doing right here is just filling those bubble holes. That happens a lot anytime you put drywall mud over paint. It'll bubble worse than normal. So just fill them in, do any touch up, then you're ready. Okay, and to spray the texture today, I'm going to use something you guys haven't seen much, if at all. This is the Graco Fast Finish Texture Sprayer. And I really like this thing for anything slightly bigger. There's a couple advantages to it. I'm going to do a video review on it one of these days. But it basically sprays faster on bigger stuff, quite a bit faster. And it's sealed, has a pressurized sealed container. So when I get done, I can just throw it in the back of my truck. It doesn't spill. I don't have to wash it up right away. So it's got some advantages I'll cover in that video review one day. So I'll show you how I'm spraying the texture here, and it's kind of hard to see because everything's kind of the same color, but you can see it slowly changing to a textured surface, and I'll show you what that looks like when you get done. So what I'm doing is I did a little test spray off to the side until I felt like I had the pattern right, and I covered that in another video about how to spray orange peel texture, but I got it down to where it looked right, and then I just blend it in, move it back and forth as you kind of see here, and in the end it came out really good. And I'll show you how it looks as I pan from the non-texture, the old texture into the new texture, and I think it blended about as well as you can blend a texture like this. So I was really happy with it, and that's basically how it came out. So deducting for the time I spent over at my house, this took me about 3 hours for every repair that I mentioned here, including texture, cleanup, and everything. Hey, you see the thumbnails and such on this page? These are clickable, so if you want to watch one of these videos or to visit my other channels, click on these, and be sure and open up the description for more links to tools and a lot more.